Greetings, board. How are you? Board, I want you to be aware that we are recording our meeting today to upload to our YouTube channel and to Facebook.
Okay.
So on Facebook and YouTube, and it's being recorded now. So be mindful of that in terms of conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Won't Mateo know something is up if he follows him around holding the teacup?
He would if I was simply holding the cup like a Neanderthal.
Hello, 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 hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Juanita,
Yes, ma'am.
I see the top of your head.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
How is that?
Yes.
That's better.
You're doing much
Okay.
better.
Ms. Nettles and Ms. Myers and Ms. Davis, I informed the other board members, this meeting is being recorded for Facebook, our Facebook channel, as well as our YouTube channel. And we will begin pushing it out after the meeting today. So I wanted you all to be aware that everything we're saying is being recorded.
Okay. Now that I've said, I can't see the top of her head. I hope that Elaine gets on before we start recording.
No.
Has anybody talked to her?
She
Yeah,
called.
she stated that she may not make the meeting today.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Didn't know that. Okay.
okie dokie. Do what we gotta do. Anybody read the Chicago plan?
I
No.
didn't read it, but I heard bits and pieces of it. But they said that may change before the school year starts. That's
Yeah,
what
May
but
change. What are we saying? What may change?
Well, they
Their
want to
plan.
go. Their plan 2 days. Well, the only ones that will be going to school full-time preschool, kindergarten through 8th grade, 2 days a week.
The hybrid.
It's a hybrid, 2 days a week in the classroom, 2 days
Yeah.
working on their own, 1 day working with the teacher on virtual learning. I don't understand how that's going to work, but high school, the freshmen and sophomores will go 2 days, basically 2 days on, 2 days off, 1 day virtual with the teacher. Juniors and seniors all will be virtual. And my daughter is quite upset.
there are a lot of people
Mine
upset.
too.
I mean, whatever plan you got, somebody's upset.
Okay.
However, the teachers union, if I'm not mistaken, are asking for remote. So that plan is not in concrete.
It's not, like I said, it's not in concrete. Okay.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But I've been talking to folks around the area, our area,
Mhm.
our school district and other school districts in the South Suburban area. Everybody's plan is different and everybody's complaining.
I see. That's why we need some good federal.
Well, skip that. That ain't happening.
Okay. Everybody it's just a hodgepodge. Everybody's doing what they want to do. Well, it's just me. I don't know, but that's.
Yeah, they're all doing what they perceive to be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But, from my understanding, District 152 and a half, that's Hazel Crest, they're leaning towards remote. And I sent you guys the letter, District 228, they're leaning towards remote. Harvey's leaning towards remote with the teachers being in class and with the teachers being in class and the students being at home. The
yeah.
District 205 is remote and hybrid. They haven't made their decision.
Morning.
And Harvey Dixmoor is remote.
Yeah. Homewood Flossmoor is remote, high school, at this time.
Okay.
It looks like we're the only ones going full time right now.
Right.
in the South suburban area.
Oh, okay. So do we want to start our meeting so we can discuss our
Okay.
and
We,
what?
we haven't started yet, Dr. Driscoll. We just chit-chatting.
Right. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, I'm here. I don't know how long I'll stay.
Miss
What happened? I cut my leg.
Ms. Walker, the meeting is being recorded for YouTube and for YouTube and for Facebook. So you might want to not share any personal information you don't want the world to know about.
Oh, no, that's okay. I accidentally cut my leg. And I had to
Wow.
at the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So sorry.
What
It's
happened
okay.
was, I don't know how long I'll be able to sit up. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Right.
That's all.
okay.
That's all. And I think it
Elaine,
should be.
right now, Elaine, we only seeing the very top of your head. Can you
Right.
adjust your camera a little bit?
Yes.
There
There
you
we
go.
go.
So, yeah.
Okay. Much
You just-
better.
Okay.
Well, move your hand, but we think we got you.
Okay. Okay, now.
Okay. There,
That's
that's
better.
much
That's
better.
better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing, Miss
Hi.
Taylor? We've been looking at your beautiful mirror there.
Right. Okay, so let's call to order the committee meeting of the whole for July.
Wish you were back in January, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
We were complaining about the weather
No.
in January.
Right. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Walker,
Here.
Ms. Taylor,
Here.
Ms. Dickerson,
Present.
Ms. Myers,
Here.
Ms. Jordan,
Here.
Ms. Nettles,
Present.
and Ms. Davis.
Here. Okay.
I hear someone's TV.
Yeah, somebody, could you, board, I just wanted you
Oh.
to be aware that Ms. Driscoll, one of our new assistant principals, is also joining us
Okay.
at the meeting. So before I begin to go over our reopening plans, I wanted the board to be aware of the current data. There are 55 of the, one moment, board, I'm sorry. You may need to mute everyone so that they can all hear me. And then if they, board, if you have questions, if you will raise your hand, because we're gonna mute everyone so that you can all hear me. And then if you have questions, we'll unmute and answer because this session is being recorded. So as of July 9th, 55 of the 65 districts in South Cook have responded. 13 have indicated they will implement a blended learning model. 5 have indicated they will implement a full face-to-face. 23 were still deciding. 1 was leaning towards remote. 1 was waiting for surveys, and 12 indicated if they offered a face-to-face, they will implement a remote learning option. So the purpose of our meeting is to have a conversation about Prairie Hills plan, and our plan is to implement an in-person model with a remote option. So the board should have seen the transition plan that has been completed. It's a 47-page document, but I wanted to bring your attention to a few things that we definitely need the parents to know. Not only that we're implementing an in-person with a remote learning option, our goal is to have parents notify us no later than Friday, July 31st. As of today's date, we sent out a robocall. We have received 1,331 responses. 631 of those parents have indicated remote learning. 432 have indicated in person. So we still have 1,700 surveys to collect and responses to collect. On page 5 of our document, we have some information related to students who are going to enroll in our district after September 11th. We're going to strongly encourage those students we're strongly recommending the remote learning option only. We plan to, for this 2020-2021 school year, we plan to delay student arrival. So for pre-K through 5th grades, the current arrival is at 8:45 a.m. We propose a new arrival time at 9 a.m. For 6th through 8th grade, the current arrival is 7:45 a.m. We propose a new arrival at 8 a.m. The reason for the delayed student start is to allow us to have all staff arrive at work, take their temperatures, check in, and be ready for the day to begin. We plan to have all of our students utilize the self-certification, which is on page 6 of our plan. So the expectation, Ms. McWilliams, we have 2 companies that we do business with that currently offer an app for self-certification. One is Frontline, which now owns Power School. Okay. The other is Crisis Go. However, I had already been in communication with Ms. McWilliams and our technology department because we were looking for something very easy for parents to access. And it looks like we will be able to upload a form on our website so that we can then collect it every day. It has to be collected, and then it allows us to see which students have been self-certified and which have not, because the students that are not self-certified, when they get on the bus, once they arrive at school, they will be automatically sent to the isolation rooms for us to contact their parents to self-certify. That has to occur before they're able to go into the classrooms. So I wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that. Any questions today? Ms. Nettles has a question.
You want me to do
And
that?
then Ms. Davis. Yes, would you please? Let her. Ms. Nettles and Ms. Davis.
Hold on, Ms. Nettles, I got you, hold on.
Yes,
The
Ms. Nettles.
self-certification, how often are we requesting that per
Every day.
student?
Every day per student.
Every day.
Every day. We cannot open if we don't do one of 2 things. We either must have parents self-certify or we must take the temperature of students. So we've decided to allow parents to self-certify and we will take the temperature of staff, but that must be done every day.
Okay, is there a way than a website?
I'm sorry.
Is there an easier way for parents to do this self-certification other than going to our website and filling in a form?
No, ma'am. So even if they either have to do our website or they have to do an app, that the only way we can allow students into our buildings is if we can control a way to electronically communicate this information immediately. We gotta have the self-certification information in our hands when students arrive that day. So the easiest way is either if we don't do the Crisis Go app, the Power School app, then we gotta do our website, and it looks like the website might be the easiest way to go.
What happened to our Crisis Go plan?
We still have it. It's still our our plan for crisis, but they have developed something very specific for self-certification. Our only concern is that this is the website access for our parents is easy. And if we put it on our web page, it will be easier for them to access versus having to push out. They would have to download the Crisis Go app on all of their phones. That's one of the reasons why we were moving away from it. Or we will put it on all of the devices that we will be providing students this year. We'll do that regardless, whether it's our web page, we'll have a link there. If it's the Crisis Go app that we end up with, or even the Power School app.
Okay.
Scroll down. Yes, Ms. Davis. I'm mute, Ms. Davis. I can't.
I'm sorry, hold on. I'm
One
not
moment.
as good as,
You might have to.
what the hell?
You want me? You can back over? We're live.
Okay, my question is when you were saying that when the student is not, has not had their temperature taken, that we need to call the parents and have them to certify that their temperature has been taken.
That's not just, so the self-certification on page 6, it isn't just the temperature. The parents have to certify 3 questions, if I'm not mistaken. One is just temperature, the other is whether or not they have been out of the country, and if I'm not mistaken, the 3rd question is whether or not they've been around anyone that has tested positive for COVID. So all of that is in the self-certification, along with these, it's not just the temperature, it's these other the other symptoms that you see for COVID-19. all of that has to be self-certified.
Okay, so am I missing that and not seeing it, or that's gonna come up later? Because under here, it doesn't say that. It says self-certification should be healthy.
Under, it doesn't say what, I'm sorry, Ms. Davis.
You just said three things. They had to not be out of the
Right,
country.
right, so the self-certification that's in our plan isn't the same as the form.
Okay, that's what
Right.
I'm saying.
Right, the
Okay.
form will be, yes, ma'am, the form is going to be separate, and we're going to upload that to our website, and that will be sent separate to parents
Okay,
that have to answer.
that makes sense then, because I was trying to figure out how is a parent going to self-certify a child that didn't have their temperature taken before they got to school. How would they then say that, oh, their temperature is 98.7 after they've gotten to school?
Right.
So,
They've got to do that. So they're supposed to do it before they either drop the students off, the students walk, or the students get on the bus. That's supposed to be done. And so we've got to have a way of being able to have that information communicated electronically as quickly as possible, because every day we're going to have people in the buildings with this list, making sure that every student that walks in the building has been self-certified. And for those that haven't, we're going to have to put them in our isolation rooms until we can contact the parent to self-certify.
okay,
I think
If the parents have not self-certified before the students get there, they go to the isolation room, how can they self-certify once the student is there? They can't take the temperature before, while they're there at school.
so we are going to call the parent. We're going to ask the parents the questions over the phone, and we're going to record the parents' response with the understanding that the parents have taken the temperature prior to the student coming to school. And we're going to document that information.
And also, will the school day be 15 minutes longer because we're starting 15 minutes after? No.
No, ma'am. So this year, the Illinois State Board of Education has stated that we only have to meet a 5-hour instructional clock. So we're going to utilize some of the extra time to assist us in arrival and departure of students and staff. So we're not making up that instructional time, no. Ms. Dickerson. Yes, Ms. Dickerson? I'm sorry, Ms. Dickerson. Joyce. Yes, Ms. Dickerson? One moment, Ms. Dickerson. Just unmute them all, please. Yes, Ms. Dickerson. Ms. Dickerson? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Have we surveyed the staff to find out what the numbers look like as far as the staff returning?
The staff was surveyed first. 97.1% of our teachers stated they're coming back, and 98.5% of our support staff stated that they were coming back.
Right, but that was back in April, right? Have we surveyed
No,
them recently?
That wasn't April. That wasn't April. That was in June. By the time we sent,
Okay.
and they received by the time we sent the information to the union presidents and they disaggregated the information, we received that back in June. So
Okay.
that information is still, according to the union presidents that I just spoke to last week, the information is still valid.
Great. And when did we send out when we got the numbers as far as the 1,300, when did we send that survey out to parents?
Friday.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Taylor. One moment, Ms. Taylor. Did you?
Okay, I got it.
Yes.
Now, are we still worried about other students coming into the district, even though we will be distributing this information to our students, our
Yes.
returning students? How are we handling new students coming in now?
So we are being a little more aggressive with transfer ins and with shared residency. We are definitely making sure that we check the residency for all students who are attempting to register with shared residency. And all students registering after a certain period of time after Labor Day, we're going to recommend that they go into remote learning. That will allow us that will assist us in controlling our numbers as it relates to the students in the classroom.
Okay, now the students in the classrooms that are physically in the seats, would the remote students be counted against us, or are they all going to be roped together?
They're all together.
They are going to be roped together.
Yes. So if Ms. Kathy Taylor is the teacher of record, 10 of those students may actually physically be in the class, and 10 of those students may be remote. But you are the teacher of record for all 20 of those students.
Okay. And those students that are remote will be responsible for the work.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not going to get like a pass fail or anything. They are responsible.
They are responsible for the work. And once the parents select the option is for the entire first semester. So we also have that. I do believe that's in our packet as well, because I wanted parents to be aware of it. So that means that from September through January, or really from August through January, they will have to remain remote.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Dickerson.
When we spoke about if a student or a teacher contacts COVID, that, you know, we will shut down the classroom and they will have to quarantine for 14 days. Now, that student has multiple family members within the district. How are we addressing that?
Well, we can notify, or contact the parent, but unless the parent notifies us or informs us that the student has tested positive, we would probably have to do I think there was a 10-day self-isolation. So we're going to follow CDC guidelines. IDPH, Illinois Department of Public Health, and CDC guidelines will follow, even for siblings, because there are guidelines for staff and students who have come in contact with someone that tests positive, and there is a self-quarantine aspect of it. On page 7, as it relates to extracurricular activities and athletics, all fall extracurricular activities at Prairie Hills are canceled until further notice.
Okay.
If you go to, I think it's under student attendance. Yes, so Ms. Walker, were you trying to say something?
You gotta unmute herself.
You have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, she has to do this right here. It doesn't say she's muted.
See what's in the chat, please. The chat at the bottom has there's a message in the chat.
Dr. Patterson.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Nettles.
While Ms. Walker's getting herself together, the extracurricular activities, that's everything, including sports, correct?
Correct. Correct.
All right, just wanted to check on that.
So
will
the last time we spoke, we were slated to begin cross country and baseball. But based upon the latest guidance coming from IHSA and IESA, we've decided to suspend all sports, all fall sports for Prairie Hills.
Okay.
We just don't want the liability, the liability that's going to come from those students working out and even competing in such close quarters.
Okay.
Ms. Walker? Okay, we still can't hear you.
Dr.
Yes, Ms. Taylor.
Taylor, can I ask one more question? Now, everything that we're doing is according to the guidelines of the CDC and Illinois State Board, and I think it's one other one that I can't remember. But they're all running along the same guidelines. And have we gone over this with our attorney?
Absolutely.
to make sure that everything is within the guidelines?
The plan that you see before you, board, has been vetted by our attorneys, and all of their recommendations I've made throughout the plan.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The reason why I was asking that is because at my last board meeting, the attorney was adamant about making sure that all of us was, everything that we're doing is going by the guidelines, because we can be sued. And he was just wanting to make everybody reiterate to everyone to make sure, because it's, I mean, because everything is so vague, a suit can anything. If someone catches COVID from us, we can, our district can be liable for it.
Yes, we've been talking about that, and we're also talking to legislators about changing the laws. We're aware. We contacted our insurance companies. We have gone back and forth with various districts and our attorneys regarding the insurance coverage. So yes, we're all aware of that. Any district that does not follow IDPH or CDC guidelines is subject to being sued. That is correct.
Yeah, from Dr. Patterson, from my understanding, also with our insurance carrier, will they be able to protect us in that process? Will they cover it? Will they cover attorney's fees? And to Kathy's statement, I was informed too by an attorney that we personally, board members personally can be sued, not only the district for if anyone catches COVID or, Lord forbid, dies from it.
Well, any of us can be sued, and we typically are sued now with a lot of the lawsuits that filter through EEOC or through Department of Labor. The difference with what is happening with COVID is that the insurance is only prepared to provide a very small amount for any student throughout the country. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Florida just passed some laws that will allow school districts to be protected. We are in the process of talking to our legislators here in Illinois, requesting the same type of coverage. But basically, the way that the policy is written, the district must adhere to all CDC guidelines and IDPH guidelines in order for us not to be sued. And that's what we would not open up if we were unable to adhere to those guidelines. That doesn't mean that that's going to stop a lawsuit, just so everybody is clear. It just means that we must make sure that we follow the letter of their guidelines in order for our insurance to cover us. We still have gaps. Every district is going to have gaps. There's still the possibility that litigation will occur between now and November with in-person instruction. We are taking that risk.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I want to go. I was trying to ask the question in the beginning, as far as the teachers. You said we got 98% of all teachers saying that they will come. And we need to know the percentage now.
The percentage now is 97.3. The percentage now is 97.3. I just spoke to
we didn't have 97% of our teachers in session before this academic.
We did. We had all of our teachers that were hired in session. Yes, ma'am.
All of the teachers was hired was in session before the academic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We know that because what my question is, but the parents are asking me is, are they from pre to fifth graders? Are they gonna have an instructor?
We've hired all of our elementary positions. We do have some vacancies at the junior high.
Okay, I said, okay, not the junior, from K through fifth grade. Because these kids, they said they need more instruction from a teacher than from a computer. That's what the parents are telling me.
Me too.
That's why we're trying to have it in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They don't want, because the parents are working. They said that they cannot sit down and help their kids with the paper trail, okay, with the papers. And with the way parents are working also with the computers. They need an online, they need a person there. And for what you're just telling us, that is 20 kids in the classroom, 10 kids will be in the classroom, and 10 will not be in. Am I correct?
No, ma'am.
Oh.
That was an example because Ms. Taylor was asking if the teacher of record is responsible for students that are physically in the class and those that are going to be tuning in remotely. And I responded with that example. So any student
Yes.
that participates remotely, the teacher of record will be responsible for that student as well.
So if that student have a problem with the work, not at the classroom, the work that they've been given paperwork, then they can respond to that teacher.
In person or remotely?
Remote. They don't have to be in person. Yeah.
Right, remotely they would, yes. That's how it is, that's how it's been since we've been out of school, where teachers have been in classrooms. We use Google Classrooms as our platform. So that's not going to change.
Okay. They don't want the parents I've been talking to, and I talked to about 15, 20 parents, and they talked to their friends, okay? They said they do not want, they want online, the kids to be in the classroom with the teacher.
Yeah, that's why I just mentioned to the board that as of Friday, 1,331 parents have responded to our survey. 631 of them are opting for remote learning. 432 are opting for instruction, and we're waiting for 1,700 of them to respond. I'm hoping to get that information as soon as possible, but we're giving parents until July 31st to respond, so we'll know how many students we're actually going to open the buildings with on August 26th.
Okay.
So, board, on page 13, we talk a little bit about the staff attendance and the calendar. And on this page, you notice we talk about when the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are going to come in. 6th grade begins on that Wednesday. 6th and 7th grade will come on Thursday, August 27th. And all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students that are going to opt for in-person instruction will be present on Friday, August 28th.
What page is that?
That was on page 13. Ms. Beasley just made me aware that somebody was asking the question. The cancellation of extracurricular activities does not include after school, because after school is instructional.
So that means that the kids are going to be in school for 6 hours with the mask on and for after school.
That's good. Yes. For those who either whose parents elect them or who we choose to participate. Yes. Then, board, and it's 5 hours, board, just so we're clear. It's a 5-hour day. I just want to make sure that we're accurate on this because we are recording this session and it's going to go live. So the Illinois State Board of Education is requiring us to a 5-hour instructional day, and that is what we plan to adhere to.
Okay.
And yes,
So-
those students will be in session for those 5 hours, and they also will remain for the after-school program.
In the after school,
Should their
yeah,
parents give permission.
okay, so the parents have to give permission for
Yes,
them,
ma'am. Absolutely.
even for those students that perhaps may need the additional
Yes, ma'am.
training.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Even for the ones, Madam President, that we want to consider mandatory, the parents must still give us permission. So
Okay.
we won't have any student participating without parental permission.
And when does the after-school program begin?
It typically begins the first Monday in October, but we are going to look at possibly beginning it a little sooner, only because of the timing of the second wave. So that means that we probably will be considering looking at it beginning mid-September.
The second wave of
COVID.
COVID. That's supposed to hit in November.
Right, and it's supposed to hit in November.
Right.
Okay, I thought it was October. Okay. Actually, I've been back and forth on whether or not I really want our district to reopen with in-person classes. However, I know that it's important for our students to be able to have that in-person learning. And it also benefits me because I can't do 2 kids. So we have to be honest here. I just want to make sure that everything is in place. The plan has been written very well. I've gone over the plan. I'd like to know that we have enough janitorial staff working not only in the evening, but also during the day with whatever possibility that come up as far as cleanliness or sanitation or whatever happens to be. That's important to me that we have enough staff.
Yes, ma'am.
Trained staff, not just staff, but trained.
So we have enough trained staff. We were hiring, remember, we had about 12. We had some additional staff members that were not permanent that we're in the process of finalizing so that we can actually hire them on. But we have applied for some FEMA money. I know Ms. Dickerson was asking me about this, and so Ms. Clayton and myself talked about this. With the FEMA money, what we're looking at doing is every time there is an outbreak or every time we may have to close the class, Madam President, instead of having our custodians clean that facility, we're going to outsource that and use the FEMA. So the FEMA money will be additional monies outside of the ESSER money that are provided for this function. And this will prevent us from overloading our current custodial staff.
So give me a scenario of how many janitors will be working during the day. I'm sure it has to do with the number of students that are housed in the building, but how many janitors per se are we gonna have per building? Or
Right
custodians,
now,
I'm sorry.
Custodians, we
Yes.
have per building is, I believe it's 5 to 6 at the junior high. It's 1 at each of the elementary buildings. It's 2 at May Jemison, and then we keep a floater for district that can go to any of the buildings that needs additional assistance. And
Okay,
we've got
so,
that overlap occurring with our evening custodians.
and our evening custodians are going to start at what time then? So
They're
say
going to-
overlap.
I believe it's 2:30? I believe it's 2:30. But the
2:30.
biggest difference isn't the personnel, Madam President, it's the fact that we're changing the way that they work. So the way that they typically work in the past, they usually will wait until lunch or students go into specials before they begin to clean some of those common areas. And we have created checklists, which are part of the appendix, where those areas have to be cleaned every hour on the hour. And we purchased the clipboard along with the checklist so that we can have them in public and have them publicized publicly. So we're going to have them mounted outside of the restrooms and the classrooms, the gyms, and it's the responsibility of all district administrators as well as building administrators to make sure that every single day we're going through looking at that list to ensure that every hour on the hour they're doing the work. The other difference is there is an overlap between the evening custodian coming and the day custodian, where the evening custodian typically would wait until students have been dismissed. We're stopping that practice this year, so that once the evening custodians come in, they must also join the day custodians and begin working immediately to sanitize those classrooms and those common areas. So I don't know that it is the quantity that we've dealt with in the past, as the way in which they've worked is what we're definitely changing this upcoming school year moving forward.
Okay, so, and you still feel that one janitor in some of the smaller schools will be capable of taking care of that once per hour cleanup?
I believe so. But if not, we still have the floating position, and we still have quite a few over the junior high. So what will change with this, Madam President, will be the number of students. So right now, what we're looking for is by the end of this month, we really need to know the number of students we can anticipate, because that's going to give us an idea of what will be in each building. So right now we're at 430. We've got 1,700 students left to account for. So we might begin the school year with only 1,000 students in all 8 of our facilities. So with those numbers like that, Madam President, I would say absolutely.
Right.
But of course, if the
right.
numbers increase, we might need to increase the staff, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes, Ms. Dickerson.
So at this time, if all 3,000 students want to come back to the school, we will have a classroom up to possibly 24 students, right? In certain grade levels.
Yeah, it depends upon the school, and it depends because we don't have that many. We have 1,000 students at the junior high, and that class size doesn't go over 18. So it does depend. There have been instances where we have not communicated from registration to what's actually occurring within the buildings, and we have allowed students to register and not paid attention to that, which has given us the increased class sizes over the years that we're absolutely not going to do this year forward. So there is going to be a little delay between students registering and actually coming into the buildings because we're going to make sure we monitor our class sizes. Our average class size right now is between 22 and 24 students for grades K through 5.
And will they be able to be 6 feet apart?
As much as possible, yes. Ms. Nettles?
We haven't got to the PPE part yet, but I know we're retrofitting some of the classrooms and lunchrooms and gyms, etc.
Right.
That process is coming along smoothly as far as purchasing and receiving.
Well, we're waiting for, so yes, we are purchasing dividers for pre-K kindergarten classrooms. We are creating our own spaces in the cafetoriums and the lunchrooms in all of our other buildings. So we're going to do that in-house instead of purchasing or having a company come and do it. Our very own Mr. Bryant, our buildings and grounds supervisor, is going to create the space from ceiling to floor with plexiglass or something similar that creates a solid space where it's still clear. We can still see what's happening, but we have to create separate spaces in our isolation rooms, in the cafetorium at the junior high, the lunchroom at Mae Jemison. And there are a couple other lunchrooms and gyms that we're going to create these separate spaces so that you may walk into any of the gyms in any of our buildings, and instead of it being one wide open room, it becomes 2 separate spaces that are divided.
Would the board have an opportunity to do a tour before the children come?
Yes. Yes, as soon as they're complete. They've not been completed yet. So I spoke to Mr. Bryant last week and told him that I would like that to happen as soon as possible. So we're waiting for those materials to be shipped. But as soon as that's done, the board can definitely take a tour.
All right.
Well, if we take a tour, I mean, I don't mind taking a tour, but what are we taking a tour for?
So the board can get a visual for what those spaces look like.
But you don't have to, it's optional.
Yeah, it's
You do not
optional.
have to go. Right.
I don't see, oh, okay, that's an option. So some people may want to do it.
Getting back to the 5 hours instructional day, does that include lunch?
Yes. Lunch is included.
So
So it's 4 hours.
But the 5 hours includes a 30-minute lunch.
So actually 4.5 hours of instruction and a half hour for lunch.
Well,
Well,
then
we have a little more time, so we still have more. We have more time built into our day, so we can still do 5 hours and still pick up a 30-minute lunch. We can still accommodate that. A lot of the decisions, though, board. A lot of these decisions will depend upon the number of students in our classroom. It's difficult to assess and articulate what we do when we have all of our students present. And now it looks like we may only be servicing a third of them physically in the classroom. So that means that the schedules may look a little different.
So with that being said, you got 98% of the teachers, even though it may be 10 kids in the classroom, you could have 5 in the classroom with a teacher. because it could be that teacher, instead of teaching 20 kids, will be teaching 5, and the other teaching 5. Am I correct?
No,
You
ma'am.
can break it up like that? No?
No,
Why,
so
why
if
not?
so what we anticipate is all of our staff, there have been a few of our staff members that have asked for accommodations, but we anticipate the staff coming back and they are working physically from our sites, even for those students that are remote. So you might have 5 students that are physically in your classroom, but you might have 15 that are remote, that the teacher is going to also have to be able to coordinate.
Well, what I'm saying is that teacher will not have to do the 15. She will have a partner to do it with her, because if 98% of the teachers are back, how many teachers in a classroom? I mean, say first grade teacher. How many classrooms do we have for first grade teacher?
In our district, we have,
Say it, May J.
we have 15 first grade teachers
Okay,
throughout
so
the district.
May J, at May J, you get 25 kids, first graders, remote. So
Okay.
how would you do that?
We would take the same class list and we would identify those students that will be physically present and those students that will be remote, and those students still would belong to that one teacher. So it might actually be 22 students, 5 of them physically present and 17 of them remote. The teacher is responsible for all 22 students in that class.
But I mean, okay, what I'm saying is, you just have that 122, that one classroom. What about those other 4 classrooms? What would she be doing?
The same. Our teaching staff hasn't changed. The difference is going to be how many of our students actually physically show up and how many of them operate remotely. The teachers will still have the same number of students, the same class list that they've had every year. We don't, just because 1,000 of our students physically show up, that only means that 2,000 of them are remote. We still have a district of 3,000 students, and we still have to accommodate each student in our classrooms and our building.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Even though they don't register?
They're all going to register. Whether you're remote or in person, they must register.
That's what I know. So if we got 5 teachers and May J, say May J, 5 first grade teachers, that's May J, and only 20 of them register for a classroom. Now, those, how many teachers going to be teaching those 20? Just the teacher who is supposed to teach them? One teacher?
Yes, ma'am, one teacher.
Well, what's the other 4 teachers going to be doing?
They're all going to be teaching. I think you think, Ms. Walker, I think you're thinking that just because the students aren't physically present means that they're not going to register, and they are. They're still all going to register. The difference is the parents get to choose whether they want to be in person or remote, but the school day looks the same whether they're at home remotely or actually physically in the class, and the teacher's duties remain the same as well.
Right.
The difference might be that the number of students physically present may not be 20, it may only be 5.
I understand. I understand the whole system, okay.
Okay.
Dr. Patterson, I just
Yes,
have
ma'am.
one question. Attendance. Will the kids have to be, and I hope they do they have to be up and ready at the same times as those students sitting in them seats?
Yes, they do. Yes,
I just
ma'am.
wanted to make sure of that.
Right.
They do.
Okay, because that's how they get their attendance, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay, so she will be actually teaching everybody basically at the same time.
At the
Right.
same time, and she must be able to physically see. The district is providing our devices, the one-to-one devices we typically provide in the buildings. We are providing to students, which is why I'm reiterating the fact that all parents must register, because of course, if you do not register, you're not going to get a device, whether that device is a laptop or a hotspot. You still have to be a registered student in our district. You will be required to show your face and to participate for the entire day, just as if they were physically in our building. Yes, ma'am.
Do they know this here for a fact? All the parents know this?
I am going to send it because
Okay.
we had the committee of the whole so that the board can make the final decision today. So there was no communicating with parents until the board had decided which direction they wanted our district to go into. So after the board makes the decision and if the board chooses to approve the plan today, it will be sent to parents tomorrow, beginning tomorrow. But if the board chooses for us to move into fully remote, then we'll just make those changes and we'll send that plan to parents tomorrow. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dickerson.
Dr. Patterson, I think that we've done an awesome, I was on the committee and I think we did an awesome job with putting the entire plan together. However, from my conversations with parents, the fear is very great as far as the number of, the greater the number, the greater the chances for someone catching COVID. And I received their fear. And I just want our kids and our staff to be healthy. And whatever we have to do to put them in that environment, that's what I'm gonna choose.
I understand. So are there any more questions over that? I just highlighted, because I know that we've kind of looked at the plan. I just highlighted some of the pieces that we added. And of course, we've got the appendix that has a few of the flow charts from our own attorney firm. It has the Restore Illinois plan. But board, I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted me to highlight or to focus on. I just wanted to show you some of the pieces that we've added since the last time we met and discussed the plan last month.
Right.
I think that self-certification plan should be in the document that we are sending out to our parents.
Most definitely.
So they'll know in advance.
Right.
And when they do the self-certification, they could also put in the attendance. Can't that be a one-time every morning scenario?
Well, we take the attendance, Ms. Nettles. We would
But I mean for the remote children.
You bring it to
we
my
take
house?
it for the remote ones also. We take
Okay,
attendance for remote
hold
students as
on, let
well.
me look at my calendar.
But my
I'm on
point
my
is,
Zoom meeting. I'm on
while
the Zoom
a
board.
parent is doing a
And
self-certification,
we're having a Zoom meeting.
Yes, I
for
see
remote
what you're saying, Ms. Nettles.
can
Yes,
that
you're saying
parent,
that in terms of the remote, the students that are remote, would the parent be able to self-certify those students who are remote as well as provide attendance for the district? Yes, they can.
Right,
do
at the
both
same time.
Yes, they can, yes.
okay.
And it allows us to collect the information. So then we'll be able to report which student, or we'll be able to disaggregate between in-person and remote, what those numbers look like.
Well, it looks like, based on our initial survey from the parents, that we are going to have between a third and 2/5 of our students physically in the chairs.
Right.
Correct.
And the rest of the parents would be having their students receive remote education.
But if all of our kids, if the majority of our kids are going to go, if the parents are suggesting remote, why wouldn't we consider doing remote?
Some parents want their children to go to school.
Yes, she's
Right.
right.
I think
400 parents, Ms. Dickerson. We haven't heard from 1,700. So you still may have 1,000 parents. So the question that's on the table is, if you have 1,000 parents requesting in person, are we not going to address those parents at all? We're going to do remote for the entire district, even though you've got 1,000 parents that are basically stating that they would like, because right now today we've got 431 parents, and this board doesn't include the 767 that have registered. We're trying to disaggregate our numbers.
Right.
And today was registration. So we're filtering through the numbers now just to see, are those two separate lists or is that one list? But what I'm saying to the board is, we are probably going to have at least a third of our population requesting in person. Because as of today, you have 400, and those numbers are going to change by the end of this week, because we've got how many days of registration? Three days of registration this week.
Okay, 3.
We're asking those parents who physically register, we're asking them, have you taken the survey? And if you have not taken the survey, would you please complete the survey? Do you plan on sending your child in person or remotely.
Okay.
Okay. And verify that they didn't answer the robocall before that says yes or no.
Correct. Right.
So we're not, using the same numbers.
Right.
Okay. What do I want to say? We have to, I guess we do have to consider those parents that do want to have their child come to school. Now, suppose a parent decides, yes, I want my child in school, and then after a while they choose not to.
Can't do it.
And they then go to the remote learning with the equipment and everything else that they need to have.
Yes, but they can't do the opposite, Madam
Right, I
President.
know they can't do the opposite,
Okay,
right,
yeah.
I
Yeah, if
understand
they're
that.
in person, and let's just say they're in person, I think that's only fair that, that you give the parents that are in person that option. But what we want to do, the reason why we're not doing it the other way is because we still want to control our numbers, and you don't want to sit, you don't want to now start the year off with maybe 10 students in a class, and then parents
Right.
change their mind about remote,
Right.
and then you now doubled that class.
Right,
But yes, parents who start in person will be given that opportunity.
okay. All right,
Okay.
all right. I don't know, we have further questions. I want everyone to be, knowledgeable about what they decide to do for our plan. Like I said, I thought it was well put together plan. I could see.
Yeah, our goal is, and the board knows this, so the goal, of course, is to, we have spent, I can't even tell you how many hours, how many days we've spent purchasing equipment, filtering through plans, scratching our heads in some cases, inquiring from attorneys. The goal is to bring in students and staff in a safe environment and keep it as safe as possible.
Right.
And of course, we understand that we only have so much control over that. But that which we do control, that's what we're attempting to make sure we
Right.
tighten up, so that no child gets sick, no staff member gets sick under our watch. So of course,
I
that
agree
means,
with you,
of course,
Dr.
that we are going to ensure that we limit, we are absolutely limiting public participation. And so we are going to do all of our parent meetings virtually. Parent visitation is limited, no parents. So we typically have an open door policy for parents visiting classrooms. That's going to be disbanded for this school year, so we can control who's actually entering the building, and we can kind of monitor and make sure that we can keep safe those students and staff that are there.
I think that you guys are doing an excellent job as far as trying to control anyone from getting sick. The thing is that we're fighting something that we can't see, and that we're fighting, that this COVID-19, it doesn't have, it's clear, it still doesn't have a vaccination, and it doesn't have a cure. But, I know that you guys know that we have done everything in our power, but we still must remember that we're fighting an unseen
Virus.
Yes, unseen virus. Yes, that's what it is. And I don't know, we just have to, I don't know, leave it up to God, I guess, now, because I do believe that our kids do need to be in person in school. Much as I'm not a proponent of masks and all of that all day, I think that's going to be very difficult for our students and our staff. And, I think that as we monitor our attendance, our, staff and our students, as we move on, we just need to know and make a wise decision when it becomes obvious that we might need to do some remote learning or a different hybrid or something like that.
That's true, and we have it in the plan. So all throughout our plan, it states that should anything change in terms of the medical landscape, the region, numbers, that we are going to go into a full remote plan.
Right. So if we go back to phase 3, then we're gonna have to go back to remote. As long as we stay with phase 4 and doesn't go back, we would have the in-person.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I think that that's most important too, because I noticed that our numbers have gone up throughout the state. So hopefully they'll start going back down.
Ms. Jordan?
I'm thinking now about, say, student teachers. Will we be hosting student teachers from the various colleges around the area? Because they will. Some college may ask, can we?
We have a
Okay.
few that have requested it. So to date, we have not said yay or nay, Ms. Jordan, because as you can imagine, it depends upon whether or not we're going to actually be in person. But we have had several requests. And if we're going to be in person, even with a portion of our population, we would allow them, because we have really good relationships with all of the universities, so we would allow them to student teach.
Oh, okay. I just
They'll be
wanted-
one of the teachers.
Okay.
Exactly. They'll be one of the teachers.
Right.
Dr. Patterson, I just have one question. How are we handling our substitute teachers?
Everybody, everybody's talking about this a little bit, because I think some of the fear is you have some districts that are looking at minimizing their class size. So you've got some districts in our area, for instance, I know, if I'm not mistaken, 153, 16, Homewood, Flossmoor, they've all decided to do an AB, a blended day. So that means that they may have, let's say, kindergarten, third graders coming that Monday, Wednesday.
Right.
Then second, fifth graders coming that Tuesday, Thursday.
That was what.
And so everybody has been talking about substitutes. So we still have our 11 cadres who we communicated with that are coming back. I'm not sure about what the greater pool looks like, but we do have a date in August that we've identified where we were going to do no more than 50 people in one setting, where we were going to call them in and do our orientation that we do every year.
Okay.
So I think, to be honest with you, Ms. Taylor, I think quite honestly, this year may be one of the worst that we've all seen, because you have quite a few substitutes who don't want to come back in person. And then you have districts who don't necessarily have a need for the substitute to teach remotely. And so then you don't employ them. So, because that looks a little bit differently. So I think we may see that.
Well, can the teacher teach at home remote?
No, ma'am. Not now. Yes. So if they are diagnosed, if you're talking about them being diagnosed with COVID or taking care of someone with COVID, then they can elect the 12.
No, I'm not. I'm talking
in general,
about
no.
Yes.
Teachers do not have a remote learning option. And there are districts that are on the table who are basically now stating that they may ask, even if they select a remote option, they are talking about asking teachers to come into the school buildings and to work throughout the day, even remotely. So I think we've probably seen the end to a lot of the remote learning from home for staff. Students, yes, but not necessarily for staff.
Okay. Till we have to close again.
Until we have to close again, right?
Yeah. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
Right. What our parents saying, well, not maybe a majority, but right now, a third of them saying, yes, we want in-person school, then, that makes sense for us to at least provide it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do we have to vote on our plan? What we decide?
Yes, we have to vote.
regular session, yeah.
Yeah, we're not voting now.
I know, I didn't hear.
No. We're not voting. We are just want to make sure we have all our questions and comments addressed.
Right. No, I'm saying, my question was, will we have to vote, or do we just discuss
It's
it?
on the regular agenda for us to vote on.
Yes.
It should never be one meeting. It's always two.
All right.
Well, I'd just like to make one comment.
Yes.
I too was on the committee, very large committee, widespread committee.
Okay.
Community members, staff members, parents, some very frank parents. She was on the committee. She says, I'm not sending my kid back. So we've as comprehensive as we could do, as many thought patterns from different thinking ways. At least we've considered it all.
Right.
I'm still receiving, I received several phone calls and emails from parents kind of wanting to know. And I think their biggest question is they just want to know, do they have an option? Do I have an option of in-person versus remote? And once I say to them, you absolutely do, then a lot of their minds are relieved, because they really just want the option to know if that's something that they want to do. I think that's what matters.
How about transportation? How about transportation?
Transportation is still the same, with the exception that The bus company, instead of having 48 seats to a bus, we only have 44. So we've added 2 buses to our routes because we've had to decrease the numbers, and that may decrease even more once we get our final numbers in by July 31st, and we know how many will be in person.
Okay.
We still have a lot of parents who depend upon the school to take care of their children during the day.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
And this 2-day-a-week thing, what am I going to do with them the other 3 days is an issue for many
Right.
parents.
Yes.
Right, and we have to also look at the technology that some of our parents have. The smartphones are not compatible with all of the software that we have. And it just doesn't work. And so they need something else. So if we are gonna have this many parents to say, you know, let's go remote, like you said, they really need to have the correct technology. You know, they have to have a laptop or
Even in
No,
the case
desktop.
that our numbers go up, we still have to provide technology for our students should something happen and we have to go to remote.
Correct.
yes.
Well, we've done that plan from
Right.
March to June.
Right, yeah, right, we
So-
do, right, yes, and it's actually it works pretty well.
I think the
Okay.
biggest difference though, board, is that, so what we did from initially from March through May, is that we dealt with the 20%. Remember, we had 20% that didn't have devices and or hotspots, and we took care of that 20%. What we're doing this year is we're going to take care of all of our students.
Right.
So we are going to take the devices we utilize within the buildings. Of course, for those that are doing remote, the ones who are not doing remote, their devices will still be in the classroom.
In the
But the ones who are
classroom,
doing remote, we're going to send their devices home. So all 3,000 of our students are going to have devices, and we still have those available hotspots. So
Okay,
now we
good.
cover everybody
Good, okay.
with Prairie Hills
Okay.
devices, which lends itself to why I made the comment about the expectation. We're going to make sure that our self-certification, whichever form we use, is on the device. We're providing parents with the understanding
Okay,
that
that's
they need to
Okay.
go on
Okay,
that
that's-
device,
okay.
open it up,
Okay,
respond every day for the in order for students to participate in in-person instruction.
okay.
Okay, that answers that
That makes,
question.
yeah, that makes me feel a lot better than it had been.
Right, right.
Okay.
And Dr. Patterson, the students that we've already given the devices to, they still have their devices, or did they turn them in?
They turned them in.
Okay.
They turned them in. We had to
Okay.
turn, I think it was a.
How did we do? Did we get them all back?
Yes, ma'am, 100%.
All right.
We did. Yep, we did.
Okay,
Okay.
So we redeployed those, Ms. Taylor, for summer school. Some of
Right.
those same
Okay.
devices for summer
Good,
school. So
good.
we are now ready for our fall deployment. Once school starts, we're ready to address our current population and send home those devices. So those dates will be forthcoming in August.
Okay.
So
All right,
board, yes, ma'am, Ms. Nettles, I'm sorry.
our standardized testing.
Ooh.
Everybody's responsible for that, correct? Whether you were remote or in the seats, you still have to do standardized testing.
Yes, everybody's
it's part of
responsible, but we
training.
are hopeful that
right,
our state superintendent will waive the mandate again. It depends also, you know, we also have to wait to see what the federal government does. But yes, everyone, whether you're remote or in person, everyone is responsible.
Okay.
And we are responsible for all of those assessments, and that learning and instruction that occurs daily.
So how do you, is this a pass or fail test?
No,
shouldn't be.
the grading goes back to the way it was pre-COVID, which is the A, B, C, D, or F.
Right,
Students must produce
Right.
the work in order to pass the class. So no
Okay.
longer pass or fail.
okay. And so everyone will be on some type of remote, not paper packets.
Correct, that's correct. Ms.
Okay,
Davis.
no
paper
packets, okay.
No packets
All
at
right, good, good,
No packets.
okay.
So now, say if I'm doing a class in math and I don't understand, on my computer, I don't understand it. The class is over. What do I do to go back to find out, to understand what was going on?
Well, you would send something to the teacher, but we also have the lessons. We'll have some of those lessons pre-recorded
Okay.
that are in the
Okay.
classroom, so
Right.
students and parents can kind of go back and look at the
Right.
lessons.
Right,
Parents don't know how to do it, so now what?
I mean, a lot of the criteria or curriculum that's being taught, you can access somewhere on the internet.
Yeah.
There's something out there that will help you solve that problem or solve that. There's a lot of
Well,
research out there. So
okay,
wait a minute, just
okay, I want you to say
and
this.
our teachers show a lot of that software. They show you a lot of the programs. They show you how to get to the answers, and they're also available. They're available by email. They're available by, you know, when you're there in person or on Zoom or whatever it is that you're using. So those things are there for the students and the parents. I've had questions this summer. I've had questions. You can talk to the teacher right there during class. You have comments that you can make there. So there are.
I'm not on the
things
school
there.
board, and my kid is behind. And
it's
I'm
not-
one of the bad kids in the classroom. Is that teacher gonna take time with me?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
Yes,
You
it
hope
doesn't
so.
matter if you're on the,
Just-
yeah, it hasn't, so just so we're all clear, board, I just want to be very clear because this is public information.
Right.
Ms. Beasley and I have personally monitored the classrooms
Right.
from March 16th through May 29th. And we've not had any problems with, first of all, students being quote unquote bad. They paid attention, and we've been able to have questions answered by parents in these different classrooms, and they've been emails, communications between the teachers and the students. So I've not
Right.
received any,
Right.
I've not received any complaints related to parents for remote learning. Have you, Ms. Beasley?
Right.
So if there's board, have you received some? Because you guys typically are really good about
No,
communicating that.
No.
And
But
So
I
we
know
wouldn't change,
that-
our practice wouldn't change.
Right.
I mean, at the
No,
end of the day, our
Yes.
teachers are our employees, and whether
Right.
the students are there in the classroom or remote, the expectation from the Board of Education and from the superintendent's office is that
Right.
we provide the same level of excellence that we would provide if they were all physically present. That
Right.
expectation is not going to change, and I
Right.
will articulate that to our staff on Wednesday, July 22nd, because that's our district-wide staff meeting.
I think in some instances it's good because the kids can go back, like you were saying, to that area where they might not have gotten it, and they could work on their own at their own pace. A lot of
Right.
times we have a lot of
Right.
problems with the kids saying they're moving too fast, they didn't quite get it. But if they are doing remote learning, they have more time to get it and do it 2 or 3 times and then turn it in.
And you know what else we noticed, Ms. Taylor? Quite a few of them took advantage of the teacher, that one-on-one teacher consult, because you know the teachers were able to work with the students and do tutorials after the class had ended in those little rooms. And a lot of our students took advantage of that along with their parents.
Right.
Yeah, I know my granddaughter did.
Right.
I think they had 3 students. The teachers had 3 students, where she actually sat with them and went step by step with those 3 students.
Right.
They stayed after class
Right.
until she got it.
Right.
And it was
Right.
easier for the teacher to work with them because they could see each other and see what she was doing at
Right.
the same time.
Right.
They could work at their own pace versus being in the classroom and it's like everybody's trying to rush because they're getting through that day.
Right.
Will the after school be available remotely for the students going forward?
No. Now that we're not prepared for, mainly because our numbers are relatively low and we just did not prepare. We're using our ESSER's monies for transportation, which I think I mentioned to the board that currently just the transportation cost alone is going to increase possibly to $250,000. So we did not offer the remote option. So let me say this though, board, as to why. There's something to be said for remote instruction, and then there's something to be said for in-person. So what we're trying to do after school cannot be done remotely. I'm just going to be honest with you. The reason why we're trying to put money behind it is because we actually need the students to be here so we can do some small guided groups, so we can actually be one-on-one with the students tutorial. There are some things that we need to have students physically present for to ensure that the learning has occurred, that just that need won't be met remotely. So we didn't put any money into remote after school.
But I'm not understanding, Dr. Patterson. Ms. Taylor just said that it was a real good, it worked for her.
He was talking about in-person instruction.
Oh, I thought she was talking about that after they did the remote, they spent a little time afterwards.
That was during their day though. That's not any different for what our teachers typically do. So even with so Ms. Taylor was referencing the regular school day, and at the end of that regular school day, there was like 30 or 40 minutes built into that day where teachers did what they call what was it called? On call? What was that? They were office hours. They had office hours. So Ms. Taylor's referencing those office hours.
And
We're
not
referencing
gonna
an after school program that is in addition to the office hours. We're going to do the office hours if it has to be remote. But the after school program is to pour just a little bit more than what you received during the regular school day.
Could I ask, okay, now, since, how can I put this? Okay, you will know what kids are doing, what kids need extra help. Are you gonna try to get them to go to the after-school program, or what?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are, but the parents have to agree, of course. And of course, they have to be,
yes.
and have to be in person, but yes.
Okay, now you're gonna let all the parents know that this could happen, but the parents who, well, you can't emphasize these parents who kids are going slow. But we're gonna try to make sure that most of those kids, not all, we know we ain't gonna get all of them, are gonna try to get into the after school program. Am I correct?
Right, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah. So board, we're going to, if we would like to end this session because this session is recorded, and then open up. I think Ms. Matthews has sent you a link for the regular board meeting where this plan will be approved.
We have another link?
No, I didn't see but one link.
I only saw one link.
It just came, guys.
Oh, it just came. Okay.
I was explaining to her that this one was recorded, so I didn't want us to go right into the next meeting with all of this being recorded online.
Okay. All right.
A clean break.
So we close out now.
Right. We need a motion
again.
Yeah, right. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm the only
any
one.
nays?
Am I the only one?
Okay. All right then. We'll see you in a second or two.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye.